Welcome. We're here today to talk about searching for video in Control Center. And there are a number of different ways to do it. And one of the things I want to show here really quick, let's go to Tools and Options here. And you can see if I go to Instant Replay, you can see I've got mine set to 6 seconds. By default, that is actually set to 30 seconds. But if used with a smaller amount here, I think it's much more functional. So I've seen a lot of people with 10, 5 sometimes, because they want to use it really as an instant replay. Something occurs in their main screen, they just want to be able to quickly see what that is. By setting it that quick, you can see. Now I'm arming the tile down here for alternative content. And one of those things that we use for alternative content is instant replay. So that's where I want the instant replay to go. It could go across a number of different monitors, wherever it is I want it to be. And when I come to the live view here again, then and hit my instant replay button, you can see it's going to pop up down in that screen that I've chose right there. So let's go ahead and do that. And now you notice I'm dropped right down to 5 seconds because that's what my setting was. And I can see what just occurred. So that's a really quick way to get to your timeline. If you just want to see, if you see something on the screen or something just occurred, that's a very fast way to get to your timeline and possibly need to, export video to the first responders or something. But if you take a look at this timeline also, what I'm going to do here is by placing my mouse between the left and right arrows, I can condense and expand my timeline. So if I'm looking, just want a visual search, I come in the morning, say, and I want to look back over what's, the hours of the nighttime. I actually have these motion metadata overlay right here on my timeline. So I can visually find things that possibly occurred. If I don't expect motion, I can simply click where I see the motion indicator on there. And then I can basically go through the past night and stuff and find things like those. We can also use, now you can see if I click over here, I can basically, I'm viewing to see what it was. Maybe it was, the janitor at night. But I could utilize this visual function right here to go to the occurrences when they occurred overnight, say, as an example. Another thing that we can also do is use bookmarks. Bookmarks are also a way to sort of visually be able to find things later on. So you can see we also have a function in Admin Center where I can, if I'm recording full time, every time there's motion, I can have it set a motion bookmark on my stream right here. Now, bookmarks, again, are for creating a little spot on the video, an addendum to the video. And as you can see, I'm doing it right here. I just clicked on the button to add a bookmark. And we'll just put in here maybe, some clown showed up, and I thought that was a little suspicious. So I'm just going to bookmark that with that notation of a clown, just in case somebody, maybe a clown robs a bank that day or something. Then I can be like, oh, yeah, I've got that bookmark for the cops. So let's go ahead and just create another one, just so you can see this one. Maybe there was a break-in, of somebody's car or something, and we just want to annotate the video so we can come back to that when we know we want to find the evidence. And now you can see above the timeline itself in the bookmark line, I do have my 2 bookmarks that are both listed here. Now, one of the other things we can do is rotate between them with these little buttons in the top right here. If I go left, if I'm looking for bookmarks, before this previous one, I click left. If I want it to the right, I click the right arrow. Now, another quick thing we can do if we want to jump to a specific time on our timeline, which is something, say you get a report and then you hear that, somebody said at noon yesterday that something happened. So you come to this button right here, just to the left of the white box. And when you click on it, you actually have a date and time that you can choose from. Here's today's date, for instance. Let's go back to yesterday, as I mentioned. And we can make it go to a very specific time. We want to see what happened right at noon when everyone got let out of work. And it will take us to that exact time on our timeline. Now, finally, what I want to talk about is the 2 functions that we have down. If you notice down here in the bottom left-hand corner are forensic options, where we can actually search for video using specific parameters. The one on the far left is a smart search looking in a specific area. So let's go to the main querying function, which you can see right here. It lists all my cameras, but we always want to start up at the very top, and you can see what's searched for most often is the default clip. We also have thumbnail search with the addition of 7, 0. We also have bookmarks search, which we'll do here in just a second. We also have the option to search for these other things as well: background exports, incidents, alarms, etc. So let's just go ahead and start with clips. Now, when you start with the clip, the first thing you want to do, of course, is choose a camera. So let's choose my 60 camera. And we come down here and we have to tell the system between which time periods we want to be able to search. And you can see by default, we have the last 24 hours, last 48 hours, and the past week. Those three have to do with right now. And then we have the final two ones, anytime, if you're looking for locked video in particular, or manual selection that allows you to choose exactly what you want. From what time period to what time period on whatever day it is that you want. And you just simply hit go down at the bottom when you're done with that. But let's go ahead and change this back to last 24 hours, for instance. And again, we're looking at this camera, and we simply hit go. This returns two results, and you can see I've had my system on and off. Sometimes you can do a query for a week, and it'll be just one result. But you can see it's got its expiration dates right there, and to the left of that is the start and end times for these two particular, or excuse me, for this particular camera that I did the query on. It's very basic, very simple. When we want to do another one, we always want to click on the reset button down in the bottom left, and we could just do another quick query. Now in this one, notice I'm checking two different cameras because, and again, same time parameter search, last 24 hours, last 48, etc. And instead of hitting go this time, what we really want to do is hit sync. Syncing will take these two cameras and then give us a return. It will sync them together basically by time and then give us a return. So let's go ahead and take a look at how this differs than the other search. This actually gives us a tab up on the top called Synchronized Playback, and you can see both of these cameras are listed right here. They both have the camera names above them. And you can see down in the timeline right here, we have our main timeline, and then we have the two different timelines for each of these two cameras, which you can see over on the left-hand side here are displayed. Now the controls to show those settings, basically on how to sync your cameras together in playback is controlled up here in Tools and Options. Let's go ahead and into Tools and Options. I think it's in the video section here. Here we go. And if we come down to the playback section and look at the bottom, you can see these are the settings right here that control that. Maximum number of scenes that you can sync together in playback, 1 through 10. You want to know what your system resources are on your machines in order to set that. Most people just leave it alone and don't do anything with it. Okay, let's go ahead and get rid of the synchronized playback then and take a look at some locked video. All right, this will move us back to our timeline now. Now, I also want to show that there's a way we can query for a clip, but a specific type of clip. But before we do that, let's go ahead and lock a piece of video. This is just what we do to try to save some video, basically. If you know something happened and you're going to be exporting it later, locking it takes the expiration date off of it, so it never gets expired, basically. And so it also shows down here under locked video when I expand my tracks at the top. So you can see that. Now normally you wouldn't be able to see it, and that's the problem with locked video, because some people will lock things and then forget about it, and without showing that track you sometimes aren't able to find it. So what we can do with the clip, it's an alternative way to search for clips. You can come down to the protection status right here, and instead of both, which of course looks for both locked and unlocked, we can search just for locked video itself. And again, we locked it on this particular camera, and I know it's within the last 24 hours on my timeline, so I simply want to hit go. And then you can see there's my locked track. And as you can also see, the expiration time shows never. And that's an important thing to understand, right? Because we delete things based on their expiration time. And if you set it to never, of course, it never gets deleted. Now, again, as soon as you were to unlock this video, if it's really old in particular, the date comes right back from its expiration. It's probably older than all the existing videos, so it does get deleted very quickly. You should probably export it first. All right, now let's take a look at the other things we can look for down here, thumbnails and bookmarks. We're going to come back to thumbnails. I want to show these bookmarks for a second. You saw that we created them. And now you can see once bookmarks are created, this is the value basically, is you're able to go back and look at all of these addendums to the video, and if they have proper editing and words in there that help you, well, that could help as well. So you can see it's very easy to look for bookmarks as well. Now all the other things down here at the bottom, of course, we could search for if we were going to do that. But the most common one is clips and bookmarks. Excuse me, clips and bookmarks. So let's go to thumbnail search. This is the new one for 7.0. You can see you have to highlight your camera itself, and you choose the same time parameters that we've always used. But the key difference down here is the interval button, because what you're telling the system to do, this is a visual search, right? I want to be able to see a thumbnail basically at a certain interval over the period of time that I'm choosing. So you can see here I've got a one day, and if I look for an interval of 1 hour, I should get 24 thumbnails, which allows me to be able to see. Now you can notice I can utilize any other choice that I want to, including manual all down at the bottom. So if I wanted to set this, say it was a month, for instance, and I've been gone and I didn't know when something occurred, or maybe a week, let's go ahead and change that to a day. And now, instead of searching for just over one day, maybe we'll go back over the past week. So over the past week, give me an interval, a thumbnail every one day. I should get 7 thumbnails. A week ago, 6 days ago, 5 days ago, etc. But let's go ahead and change this back just based on my parameters here. If I look back over the last 24 hours and I ask for a thumbnail every hour, that's what I should expect. So let's go ahead, and it's going to pop up right up at the top. Let's go ahead and hit go, and we'll wait while it syncs. And you can see the results. Now, of course, there was some time where my camera was not connected, so you can see the beginning is a little bit off. But everything after that, you can see, because it was continuously recording, it gives me a thumbnail every every 1 hour. 11:08, 12:08. 108, 208, I think you get it. So by using this visual search, the first search, basically you want to start big, and you're getting a visual over a period of time and trying to basically make a visual determination. In the secondary search now, I can narrow it down even further. So now by using this give me a thumbnail every hour method, what it'll actually do, I can see maybe it occurred between this one and this next one over here. One thing we can do here, once we've identified the area that we're looking for, we can zoom in, and all of the thumbnails zoom in along with it. But basically, we've determined, I guess, on our timeline here that between 4:08 a.m. and 5:08 a.m. is now when we know it occurred, because, say, the car was in the parking lot up until this point, and on the next thumbnail, it is not. So the secondary search is what we really want to do now. So we pop over here to manual selection down in the bottom left. Now, again, we're choosing the time from that first thumbnail that we saw on 7:25 at 4:08 a.m. And then the end time now we already know is here because the car has disappeared. There's no sense looking beyond that. So this one is our new end time at 5:08 a.m. And we simply make that adjustment right here. And once that's done, it makes no sense, of course, to look for a 1 hour interval over a 1 hour period of time. So we want to divide this up now and give the display area some time to show something. So 5 minutes works perfectly. It should give us 12 thumbnails across the top, divided over 60 minutes. And you can see this is exactly what we've got here. Now, in 2 quick searches, we didn't know over a full day when something occurred. Now we've got it narrowed down to a 5-minute period of time. We're down in our timeline now. We have a 9-minute timeline, by default, without scrunching it up or expanding it. So once I'm on the timeline in the 5 minutes, I can probably find the evidence it is that I need and simply come down here and export it to the first responders.